This Japanese sake braised mushroom dish is simple, easy, cheap, quick and incredibly tasty. Stick around to find out how to do it.
Hello everyone, I'm Anthony the Eclectic Chef. Welcome back to my kitchen this afternoon, where we're going to make a Japanese dish. Mushrooms braised in sake. Now, I was browsing actually this morning through this book, Japanese Farm Food by Nancy Singleton Hachisu. Nancy was born in San Francisco, moved to Japan, married a Japanese farmer. I still think Nancy has a lot of the San Francisco in her, but her book's good reading. And by the way, if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can get the online version free there. And I actually really do think it's worth reading. Well, the recipe was for shimeji mushrooms. So I went off to Lili International Foods this morning. I need some other things. Thought, I'll get some shimeji. Well, of course, they didn't have any. Doesn't that always work that way? Well, I was going to tell you this dish works great with other soft mushrooms. So I bought some oyster mushrooms. We're going to give those a go here instead of the shimeji. So it will be Hiratake no Sakamushi, meaning oyster mushrooms in Japanese. That actually means flat mushrooms braised in sake. So we'll come back in a minute, get this started, show you our ingredients. A little unusual for Japanese dish actually. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what other mushrooms you might use. Here are the entirety of our ingredients for tonight's dish. 100 grams of oyster mushrooms. In the original recipe it's 250 for 6. This will be my vegetable dish with some deep fried oysters tonight, so I'm having 100 grams, that'll be for me. Tablespoon of butter. I haven't reduced the quantity. That's why I say this is an unusual recipe for Japanese cooking. You don't see butter in Japanese recipes very often, and I've put some coarse sea salt on top there to add in. Half a red pepper, thinly sliced. We'll add some spice, but probably not too much. 1 garlic clove, minced, and 50 ml of sake. The original recipe is 60, but I don't mind putting 50. I can always reduce it down. So let's get this into the pan. But first, let's have a quick chat about how you can make this really easy at home. So you'll see we had to change the name of this dish to Hiratake no Sakamushi, because we're using oyster mushrooms, which in Japanese is referred to as a flat mushroom. Well, you can use any what I would call soft mushroom. I rejected some smaller, more delicate mushrooms. They won't braise well in sake. But you could just as easily use white mushrooms or brown crimini mushrooms for this recipe. I'd slice them if you're doing that, maybe about 1/4 inch thick, in which case it's Mashurūmu no Sakamuri. Mashurūmu means mushroom. Now, if you really want to be fancy and it's white mushrooms, it's White-o Mashurūmu, or if you're using crimini, Buron Mashurūmu. You may find the adaptation of Japanese to our colour definitions interesting, but there it is. So I'll put this in the description if you want to impress your friends. If you're doing this for them, it really is a delightful dish and so simple. And as you'll see, very quick and easy to do. It increases your repertoire, so please have a go. Love to hear from you in the comments what you think about this dish and if you used it. And as always, please like and subscribe if you find this interesting. It's very helpful to the channel. Now let's get cooking. I told you this dish was simple. It really is. The first thing we're going to do is melt our butter. Gosh, you know, I'm so glad I swapped out and have a gas hob. I can't imagine going back to an electric hob now. I just can't. So we'll melt our butter and come back in a second. It's almost ready. And we just add all the other ingredients together.
toss the mushrooms together in this butter sake sauce. Make sure everything's coated. Do a bit more work with the oysters than we'd have to with a shimeji, just to make sure everything's got a coating. And we're going to turn the heat down, cook it up. Just leave it for 5 minutes. We may come back a couple of times and just toss things around, but let's just leave this to all soften up. And there's the cover. We'll come back in a few minutes. While we're waiting for the mushrooms to cook, let's talk a bit about the sake we use. It's right here. This Hakutsuru carton. $16 at Lili in Chandler. Now be careful when you're shopping for this, because just down the street, a couple of blocks, 99 Street Market wants 28 bucks for this, which is outrageous. I wouldn't pay that. So shop around. Now, you can use any sake, frankly. What you have is going to work. If you're on a budget and you don't have sake in the kitchen and you want to try this, just look at the pictures that I'm putting in here. You can buy little bottles of sake, somewhere between $3 to $5. You won't even use the whole bottle. You can use half of it, and this will work great in this recipe. So you don't have to have a lot of money invested in this recipe. If you have mushrooms in the fridge, you can use what you have. So let's go back, give our mushrooms a stir, and show you what you look like. Show you what they look like when they're finished. After 5 minutes, even with a cover on, these mushrooms have soaked up all the sake and butter, well, nearly all. So we'll then serve this up on a little plate and show you what they look like. I think this is a knockout dish. You can do this with any mushroom, as I said, that's soft. Crimini white mushrooms. So have a go. If you can get oysters, use that too. This simple mushroom dish tasted sublime, but it also has incredible eye appeal. So I just finished this. Oh my God, hat tip to Nancy. The butter and the spiciness from the chili merged, but didn't hide the taste of the mushrooms. It added to it. Absolutely delicious. Whatever mushroom you use, even if it's a humble white mushroom, give this a try. You and your guests will love it.